would say poised.
It's fun because it's absolutely very nice for this episode of Dialogues with Interesting People. So happy all those people are coming for this little chat. I'm really honored and excited. I'm excited because I knew him quite younger and not exactly in the same geographical position for now.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. And just a few words, you are Blacksmith.
Yeah, I am. Well, that's my nickname, which is literally the translation of the origin of my actual name, which is Fabrizio. Hi. Yeah, that's me.
So tell us something about you, your background, where you are geographically and where you are from, because now I'm sure everybody's quite curious to know about, and everything you want to say about you, just as an introduction or a starting point.
So again, my name is Fabrizio. I was born in Italy, obviously, more specifically in Sicily. Moved out to Rome when I was kind of 4.
Wow.
And grew up basically there, and that's where I met this lovely lady right here. And then in October 2018, I decided to say, okay, you know what? I give up everything, and just say, okay, I'll take a flight. And now I'm here in the UK in the South Coast. Specifically in Worthing. And what else? Like background wise, I really have to thank my mom for that, because in my early years, music wise, I was really into like club music, so techno, dance, and slow.
What age approximately?
I would say like early teenage, so like
okay,
12.
Yeah.
And then
Preteen.
Sorry?
Preteen, you had those kind of musical taste. Wow. Okay.
And actually that kind of taste actually stayed with me, because I have a thing for electronic music as well.
I want to know later. I want to know more about that because it intrigues me.
Oh, that's now okay. We will talk about anything.
I love when you mix, because you don't know what he does. I know. So I love when they mix things that looks like being totally opposite or in contrast.
They tell me that way, like a lot of times. Like
when you tell me something like that, you know.
But yeah, like my journey, my change, let's say it started with a specific song and a specific part of the song.
And do you remember also in what occasion?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So tell us, it will be
It started really randomly, like the little seed was planted when I was really, really young. I remember having these, I have some old movies of me when I was like literally a little kid, like 1-2 years old. And my mom would play Vasco Rossi, which now I despise. Like, give me Vasco Rossi, I'll just go away and change room. But she would play a lot of Freddie Mercury, a lot of Queen, and the specific song is Innuendo by Queen. And I remember this like it was yesterday. We were driving for holidays from Rome to Syracuse, where I was born, where my family is. And we would have these Queen Greatest Hits CDs. And in one of them, I think it's the black one is number 2 or number 3, I don't remember. And Innuendo comes in, and there's this part where there's this breakdown of the song, like the total change, and it goes with all the strings, and that just before the part with the mandolin, dun 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 dun, and that is the breakout point, because after that there is this really like pounding drum playing, like this guitar solo, and that would really drive me nuts. I remember me in the back seats of the car with this like tupa 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 tupa, and me like going like this as a kid, and that's where basically all started. And then in a very weird way, the WWE, the wrestling, so the entry music of the fighters, I would go like, oh, this song is great. I want to know who's that song from. And I would just type it, Google it. And that's basically how I approached rock music, hard rock then, and then slowly stepping into like heavier and heavier stuff. And as I was saying in the beginning, the electronic bit, it remained there because I'm a big lover of EDM music. I like drum and bass a lot. I like dubstep, trance music, and then just out of curiosity, I love opera music. I like classical music. I like listening to jazz. I like listening to blues. But yeah, my main thing is heavy music. So when people like go like all that stuff, chuggy guitars, like crazy drumming stuff, that's my main thing. But yeah, I love like a lot of other stuff.
This of the metal and some kind of rock, exactly the same energy of the opera. The opera music now, for some reasons, more controversy about, it has become a little too much cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
And, people have migrated in other kind of music because it doesn't represent anymore this huge popular energy that it is refined for me in itself, but it doesn't need to represent refinement.
Well,
it is aristocratic in itself.
It was famous.
But it doesn't have to look like.
Yeah, like I have to agree. Sometimes when I say people that I like that kind of music, they're like, how can you listen to that? It's so old and you listen to all that stuff. And I say, yeah, but
no, it's not that old. Done in a certain way, it's not that old. In the 20th century, it has migrated towards something that it's not anymore what it was. So some say we have to get back, and I'm one of those, because there are some kind of music of singers especially, they want to do that. If they do, I know they find a great success, but usually they are not how can I say, cherished into the academic environment or into the mentorship environment, because it is seen as a lower level.
Yes.
From a musical point of view. And I'm Italian. I know what I'm talking about because I come from some who prepared with the singers before this kind of evolution. And we know that now it's absolutely refined. And there are some Americans that maintain this point, and they've written about. And it's very important when they write about, because you can get back and say, perhaps they were saying something that I could not apply 20 years ago, but now
it works.
Why not? Epoch is opening again. I know you were into a band. I know because one of my students was the lead singer of it. And I'm telling that because I was passionate of that band. To control him, as I usually do, I came to some rehearsal. Yeah. I do those kind of things. I charge nothing. It's just my job. So sometimes I'm in online when in streaming when they're doing something. Sometimes I prepare for concerts. Sometimes I go to rehearsal. Sometimes I go to concerts because it's my job. What do you remember of this group? I love this band. You were excellent. You were really, really great. If you want, you get listening to Fade and Lost. Sorry. You were playing something there, so they will hear you.
So I I was playing guitar for them. So it was I had this group of friends, and one of them specifically, Eugenio, the other guitarist, and Alex, the singer that you were just mentioning. I knew them, and they were telling me that the other guitarist was leaving because they didn't have much time or whatever, like band dynamics. And Eugenio, the other guitarist, was telling me, oh, but you're pretty good at guitar. You should, but I don't know, try and come along and see how you fit. And well, I went there, and I have to be honest, the first time I tried and rehearsed with them, I was like, I don't know, this is too soft for me. I don't know if it's gonna work. But at the end of the day, let's say I brought my input, and they were happy with it, and everything worked fine. And I've been with them for quite a bit, actually. And to be honest, we also achieved something that even if it's not as big as someone would imagine, but I personally value those events and achievements a lot.
Go to listen to them because they were really excellent. Really excellent. And especially into an environment that was not at all beneficial for those kind. It is a soft rock thing, meaning that it's a rock that is mixed with pop.
Yes, and
something also that is getting into the culture. I know for you, that's why otherwise you took other, but it was a good line to stay into. It was not bad. It was really good, and you were excellent.
In the end, I left because other things came along, and I didn't feel like.
So it's life and evolution.
Yeah, at the end, yeah. But thinking back to it, I think it could have still worked. So in a way, I regret a little bit. But yeah, it was a really good. It was a good thing. Like Fading Lost was a good thing for me, and I keep them in.
Something like 15 years old and 19 years old, something like that.
Well, around 18, 19, I just said, like, guys, I can't really
remain into,
I can't fit anything, like, because I started to work as well, so it was like less time, and it was starting to get a little bit more challenging to liaise with everything and make it fit into everyone else's lives as well, because obviously growing up, everyone gets stuff to do, life gets in the way and all that.
Of course, if you are not, for example, at the same college together, that makes it fit in better.
Absolutely.
You have a contract, you sign, and then okay, it's the other life that's going to fit around, or you simply, life goes on and you evolve, and you go into your path. Otherwise, you remain into something older that doesn't evolve into the new life.
Absolutely. But despite that, I really keep them like in my heart, because it's something that I'm really proud of having been part of.
You must be. It was really, really good. Really, really good. Really exciting. Yeah.
That's really good to hear. That's really good to hear. Makes me feel even better about it.
Of course. So, 2018 UK. For personal reasons, for musical reasons, for environment reasons, for just human reasons, because you wanted to change.
Mostly was work related, really.
Okay.
So I had this position open in Ireland, actually.
Oh, really?
For Electronic Arts, the gaming company.
Yeah.
And my cousin actually works there. And he told me, like, have it a go. And I gave it a go. I dropped university, dropped everything else. And I said, okay, you know what? I'll just try. So I did it. It didn't work. So I don't work for Electronic Arts. But after I tried it, it failed. There was another little opportunity because I had a friend here working that he moved a little bit earlier than me. And he was telling me, oh, you should try, come, it's nice, you know? And I say, you know what? I already dropped everything. I tried that. It's behind the corner because Ireland is there, UK is down there.
Oh.
I mean, let's just try it. And this is how I ended up here, basically.
And of course you remain, and your accent says that you remain all the time quite clearly, and you're fitting very well.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I found a beautiful girl here with me. We're planning things together. So like I would say that it worked out kind of well. It's working out pretty well, I have to say.
And then you started. Did you ever stopped music?
Let's say, well, it's a weird thing that happened because I am born musically as a guitarist. Then what happened? I got injured. I had nerve compression in the elbow. So I think it's the ulnar nerve. So these two fingers don't really work really well for me.
And it's the hand.
And it's the left hand, so the one that goes into the fingerboard. And as a metal guitarist, I mean, not being able to be as fast and as precise with, especially with these last two fingers, it's an issue. So for the first part of my injury, I just couldn't play. So, but I kept, like, I was like, I still want to do music. I want to do stuff. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should try singing. And basically that's how I ended up meeting you in the first place. And then I was like, man, I really like all these harsh vocals that are in metal. I was so fascinated because obviously, as everyone would think, listening to these guys going like with this raspy, harsh vocals, you would think, how they do that? It sounds like they're yelling their lungs out. And they do that for hours to their live gigs, and then they speak properly like 30 seconds after. How they do that? And I was like, you know what? I want to learn doing that. And back in the day, there wasn't so much knowledge about it. And so what would I do? I just go to YouTube and say, oh, how to do this, how to do that. And thanks to the knowledge that you gave me at the very beginning of my vocal journey, I was like, maybe I could apply the same principle of the traditional way of vocal production to that. So I was like,
something in common.
And I just tried and tried and tried and tried. And I saw that it wasn't really hurting me. Like, I didn't feel discomfort. I wouldn't feel tiredness. I wouldn't feel anything. And my voice was unaffected. The only thing that obviously, for obvious reasons, was a little bit of itchiness, if I can say that, like, if it makes sense. Because obviously, when doing those kind of sounds, a whole lot of different structures that we normally don't use when phonating.
At first, you have to endamage them, to develop them, to adapt to the point in which they are not stressed so much anymore by the vibration.
Exactly. And again,
the scary part of every journey. But it's not taking away that. It's not knowing how to appropriately do that. That it's a question of frequency and load, and duration and speed. If you do correctly, first you are going to inflame the part, but it's a good thing because you are going to unblock the system into the true protective measurement of the thing. And you get a little time, and then you get back much less strongly. You adapt to how it can vibrate. And then you build up from there. And there it is. If you have patience, you get there where you want, and you say, whoo, and I thought I was going to kill myself. If you go straight and you think that just going straight, yeah, you're going to kill yourself. But if you start understanding how biology functions, you have to kill yourself, especially your fear of killing yourself, one couple of times, really, really straight. Then you let stay. When the inflammation is away, you start building up because you unblock and then you use gently.
Very true. Very true.
It can be very strong at some moments.
Yeah, like people would imagine that when doing these kind of sounds, you're like really straining and like pushing so hard. And it's not true. Like every extreme vocal coach nowadays would tell you, the less, the better. So like,
we do more when we produce with the vocal cords. We do much more than what you do.
Very much. In fact, when I sing normally, I feel a lot more tired than when I do all these harsh sounds.
Yeah, of course.
Even because there's a lot more going on, like a lot different parts of the body are involved. Like when using those vocals, like the really important bit is the really upper part of the throat. Everything happens almost in your mouth.
Yeah, and you just have to use the normal to protect the part.
Yes, absolutely.
Not
absolutely.
to make it go there.
If in that, like, if it's down here, it's not good. Like you're not gonna last more than 2 minutes.
But even 30 seconds, and it's not going to be nice.
No.
Your public is perceiving as absolutely not pleasant. But not in the ear, in what you're doing inside. And I don't know if you have the same idea. I have the idea that we perceive as public what the gesture of someone there. Then the vibration of this gesture arrives to us even more than with the mirror neurons. And this is interesting because you can make vibrate with a gesture something that someone else is not able even to attain as a biological tissue to make vibrate.
Yeah.
And you have success when you are getting to make vibrating something that people think about is there, but he cannot say. And you use the vibration to get into those tissues and giving voice to the physical of the people. You make a vibromassage in some sort by the sound. And when you do something that sounds aesthetically not so bad, but is the wrong gesture, people is not so silly. There must be fetishist or something strange, because usually it's what are you doing? You're doing a vibromassage that really doesn't work because it's not aesthetics. It's something else vibrating, and that you're doing.
True. That's very true.
We have so many kind of sounds and so many kind of styles, and we evolve constantly because you have to make vibrating the people now, not how they used to make vibrating before. Because but you're not talking to me. You're talking to someone that doesn't exist anymore. So perhaps it's not interesting. And I think that it's what you are doing when you do metal. You really get in some deep vibration and you need some kind of energy, otherwise that it doesn't get to vibrate.
The intensity has to be there. Like, this is something my vocal coach always pointed out when we were doing lessons. You need intensity. You don't need power.
Exactly.
It's not the same thing.
Absolutely.
Like, power is when you like go, and you just yell the hell out. And
interesting.
You don't need that. You can be as intense, even just whispering.
You can be as intense while you are taking away the sound. And it's one of the effects that, oh my God, what it can do. It's because you are suspended into the sky. You remain into the sky suspended, but you don't know what. And you stay there. And it's the void down. And it's, oh my God, wow, we can do that.
Very simplistic way.
Not to push you as a crazy, but it's intensity. It's speed, it's acceleration. It's not power. It's not brutality. It's not violence. It's not screaming.
Absolutely. That's the message that you're conveying. But how you produce it is without all of that. Because if you have all that, if you have tension, you can use anger as an emotion to give more of that impression, but if you use that to produce it, it doesn't work.
That I think it's a little more nuanced.
Sorry?
On that specific, I think it's a little more nuanced. I think you can produce with if it's not at the place of everything else.
No, of course, that's actually what I meant. Like, you can use it to put it into that along with everything else.
I mean, yeah, but you can also have a structure that is more defensive and remaining defensive and not killing your voice. Because you can have a lot of tension and not creating a problem if you create a context in which.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
It's not a question of measure. It's a question for me of how.
Yes. The thing is, sometimes, especially when producing that kind of vocals, too much of tension will kill the sound. Like, it won't come.
Of course, because you take away the vibration.
Yeah, the more relaxed, the better. Like, everything has to be relaxed. If there's tension here, it won't cut. You will sound like, oh.
Yeah.
Because and it hurts, actually.
It's there that it's the difference in between the extreme and the usual.
Yes.
You can be much more nuanced into the emotions that you put and the extreme of those emotions that you put, because you can delegate vibration to many segments of the body and put to not overwhelm the smaller one by using and delegate many actions in other segments of the body.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
And for you, I think you cannot delegate to your arch of the foot something because it will not vibrate there, that thing, and so.
Exactly. You can, like, what you can change when producing that stuff most of the time is how air is distributed. That's what makes the change. Like, there are many different ways of different voicings, which I'm currently practicing because I'm not that good at. But at the end of it is just air misplacement. That's why it's like all about the tongue, how you twist your neck. Like, sometimes I find it easier when tilting my chin down because it makes the trait bigger. So there's more air going.
Some other parts of vibration.
That's or like using the nose as vibration space, or just twisting the tongue in a specific way, making like air sockets, and it sounds so weird because if you don't use the distortion in that, like for example, I was to split like this, and then like Stitch, like from Lilo and Stitch. And then adding the distortion into that, it makes something crazy that you will like.
You know where you can start playing something.
Hit me.
We have some big muscles along the spine.
Mm-hmm.
That makes torsion.
Okay.
It's one specific that makes the torsion and the elongation of the spine, meaning that it has a direct effect into what we call the sustain of the voice, and you call air.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find the point of torsion exactly at the end of the thoracic segment and the starting of the lumbar segment,
okay,
the idea that you can find something that you told us now with the tongue, etc., just displaced a little lower. And it give you something that's, I have the idea, I have my creative part that vibrates with creative parts, usually with people. If they're students or former students, it remains connected. And if you want it,
interesting, actually.
No, it's quite fun. Sometimes they write to me, are you a witch? And I think no, but I think that I remain connected. So now one time with Eleonora Bianchini, she was in India teaching. And we were doing our lessons, and for a little time we suspended because she was really working hard there. And before she left, I told her some exercises. And then one night, 4 o'clock, she has changed her diaphragm management. Now I have to tell her to change the vocalizations because now her diaphragm has changed something. And I told myself, okay, I don't know what time is it there, but if you send it at 4 o'clock in the morning, she's going to be, what? I said, okay, you write at 10 o'clock. You write now the text and you send at 10 o'clock. And yet it was, yeah, it's true. I felt something. I said, how can you know that? I said, don't worry. It's a musician's connection. It's like that. And it remains like that. And then I have to make a will, a desire, that this connection not to interfere. After a certain time, I disconnect. It doesn't disconnect completely, but it disconnects the part that could be intrusive, you know?
Makes sense.
Now for Eleonora, I feel nothing because I don't want to be intrusive. Because when I feel I'm communicating with her, and when it is important, yeah, but at a certain point it's, and I write to the student usually, don't worry, I'm disconnecting. Because you don't need me there anymore. You're strong enough to be on your own. And if you want, you dialogue with me and I open back. But otherwise, don't worry, because you can get on your own and ask someone to dialogue or to open, not to be intruded.
That's very wise, actually.
I don't know. It's simply, it's like things are. Teaching.
Very right. Well, that means that you're a really good teacher.
I don't know.
I'm telling you that.
You know, when I started, they started asking me, and I said, but I have nothing to teach. I'm not that good to teach. No, be sure. I know you have some important things to teach to me. I said, I can try, but I don't see that I have that much to teach. And it's still there, you know. I also see that, of course, with me or without me, sometimes it changes something. So I'm not doing that bad. But I'm trying to do what I can, the best I can, as with music, meaning not to be too harmful and be plenty of love and enthusiasm for the music, the curiosity, etc., etc., etc.
Absolutely. Well, I can really tell that.
You have to make distortion, you know, from the back there with you have to find a point in which it doesn't move, because if you move like that, you are not feeling a tension. You have to feel where there is the tension. You felt it, and you felt into the tongue.
Okay, I'll have a look into it. I'll try and experiment.
You'll try, and if you find, you send me a video.
Will do, definitely will. Because now you really made me curious.
I know. But you made me react to that. So while we were talking, your insight to me, you know, he has another possibility there. He doesn't have found it yet. Tell him. I'm talking for your creativity, your creative part, you know.
But that's something you always said. That's something you always said. I don't talk to the students. I talk to their creative parts.
Exactly.
Like, I don't care about the
I'm not on the side of the students, I'm on the side of the voice and the creative part.
Yeah, I remember that really vividly. That someone can come out rude, but it's not. It's really...
I do that because it's a joke. And it's the kindest thing that we can do for someone.
Yeah.
Seeming rude and seeming uncaring. And it's exactly the opposite.
Absolutely true. Very, very true. Well, because at the end of the day, people come to you not to have a friend. They come to you to feed their creative part, like their creative instrument.
Jump from what they are to where they're exiled. They have something exiled that asks them to be there. And I have to say, okay, jump. And say,
yes.
Well, then I push you one time. Why? Because so you see that nothing happens and you say, wow, but I was at home. Yeah. And then it's not anymore that I have to do it. It's, do we jump together? Yeah, come on. And we do music like that. Why? That's why I said that it's like Dumbo. You look at yourself and you say, I will never fly. Look at me, I can't fly. Not possible.
And you end up in the sky.
You fly. And what do they do in the movie? They push him.
Yeah.
And it's the same. Is it rude? No, it's freedom for Dumbo.
Yes.
Brother, you will all the time and always say, I can't fly. But if you really jump, you will see that, yeah, you fly. It's absurd. Yeah, still it's real. So
very, very.
And I'm the one in the position that have make you usually the first jump.
Well, for me, that you like personally, like that's what you did. You just said, poof.
But without hurting.
Very true. Very true.
No, because we have create conditions in which you don't hurt yourself.
Well,
we can't have to jump if you have not prepared your ears to sustain you flying. That would be not rude. That would be really something that
would be violent.
That would be something that we don't do as human beings.
Exactly.
It's something that we don't do because simply we don't do those kind of things. It's toxic. It's wrong in all the sides. It's not so you find your way. No. Because this is someone that will never make music again. So absolutely not. So we create the conditions in which absolutely they function. And it is, you do this exercise, you do that. And okay, I know you don't like, don't worry. We do, even if, and it's all right. And then it is. And now, first time we make you jump with you on our shoulders. So you take that at the end, we let you sleep a bit. So you have the feeling of what it is flying and the taste of it and say, oh, but that's fantastic. I want to do again. Okay, you have to jump.
Yes, that's a really,
we try to make you jump without pushing you. With some we can, with some I don't know. So we'll create the conditions in which you have yet control the ears, etc. And then we push and you see that you fly and you say, oh, that's fantastic. Okay. And then we teach you how to do appropriately. But there's no need to push anymore because you just want to do it again and again and again and again.
Very, very true. That's actually pretty great. That the Dumbo metaphor is like on point. That's
well, 15 years of students of every kind. It is Dumbo that came to me and said, you see?
It works.
You're right. Okay, so they can see also. Wow, thank you, Dumbo. Thank you so much.
Very, very true.
Simplify my life.
That's great.
So now we come to the usual questions, because the first part is random with the people and different with every people. What is it to be a musician or a songwriter if you write original songs in this epoch, in this kind of time in which it's so plenty of music, because with the recordings it stays there. It is not behind or just in the mind of those, in the memory, in the tales of someone. How is it? How does it feel?
Well, it's that I would say that there are two sides of it. So one side is, in one way, it's a lot easier because there's so much access to information, to even just as you said, like everyone can pick up a recorder and just record stuff and put it out there. But at the same time, for the same reason, it can be very, very hard because the environments can be oversaturated with stuff. Yeah. So sometimes it can be hard to stand out. It can be hard to also be just seen or heard because there's so much stuff around. And so many, and also so many people doing good stuff as well. So it's really hard to find your place.
Something that people of your age never answer to that question. Probably it's something of my age. It is that the creative process is overwhelmed by all that music. There is a sort of inhibition. In people of your age, never comes out. So probably for you, it's not a problem. Not at all.
Inhibition, no, because I honestly, more than inhibited, I don't feel that inhibition. I feel disinhibited because.
Okay, you feel more inspired. That is great. That is great.
I'm so free of trying whatever, because I mean, now when I make a really small example, there's a band called Cattle Decapitation, and they mainly do death metal. And in the 80s, when death metal was a big thing, no one would ever think about throwing clean vocals into that stuff. This guy sings while it's ridiculous. That guy is like Travis Ryan. If you have the chance, just have a look at him, because it's
we'll have a look.
But yeah, I feel that honestly, if I think something, I can do it and try it. And at the end of the day, if it works musically, who cares? If I like it, who cares? No inhibition, whatsoever.
I'm very happy that you tell me that. To me, this is like the internet, and people say, but it's plenty of negativity, of false information, of fake things, etc. At the end, it's plenty of very good stuff. So it depends on how you structure it and how you understand it. You can use or you can ignore it. On some sort is also mirror yourself, how you are triggered by things. And before, it was very difficult to find how you were triggered, because you were not into a situation in which you could mirror that quite often. So on the other hand, it's a tool for growth, personal growth and personal freedom. Pretty amazing. It's not only that, of course, but it can be that in a measure in which it was not before.
Absolutely true.
And at the end, I think we are very well developed biologically to, after something is new and it does overwhelm us, after to navigate, to feel immediately when it's fake or not, and to see the light of the little vibration of us. I don't see it, but I feel that there is something there, and our nose get there. We adapt very well on that in a very beneficial way.
That's very true.
Even if they say the opposite, but I think it's a phase of adaptation of ourselves and how we.
Absolutely.
I don't know, but I'm very happy that you say that. Are you searching for your voice, not only technically, also your creative voice, also your human voice? Can be anything.
Well, in that sense, I would say yes, because I would love, for example, to learn how to express what I have in my head, the feelings that I feel, the emotions that I have, but yet I'm not able to pull them out yet. It's really weird to answer that question, because in a way, technically also I'm looking for it, because
yeah, of course,
that's always
everybody all his life.
Always something new that can be added technically, and there's always room for growth in any direction, really. But yeah, honestly, I think I'm still trying to find my voice in that sense, because I see all these artists pulling off stuff, and I would love to do it myself as well, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to work on myself. It probably can be also a matter of, I wouldn't say feeling ashamed, but in a very simplistic way, let's say it's probably shame, or feeling afraid of opening up a little bit to certain things. But definitely I'm still finding my voice in that sense. but I'm working on it. And definitely I'm not giving up on it, definitely, because I mean, I want to get my stuff out.
Are collaborations important?
Very, very much. Like, as I just said, like, there's always room for growth, and you can't really learn by yourself. You need to have someone to see it. And like, I see collaborations as just a way to absorb stuff and learn stuff and getting richer, literally. In any case, like, even like if you put it on a bigger picture, like contaminations and stuff, it's all good. It's all better. It's all better. So like collaborations, well, like, you're all welcome. Like, I'd love to. Like, I'm always looking for stuff to do with other people that doing stuff in a different way, or even in the same environment. Just the fact that you're next to someone else that does things different from you, it's always a chance to get yourself richer, definitely.
What is it, art, to you?
That's a really deep question. Art,
we try.
Art, at the end, I'm trying to make it very simple now in a way that it doesn't confuse. Art is just it sounds even bad saying just. Art is a representation of, it sounds very cliche, of what you have inside. Like, it's a manifestation of yourself or your experiences or someone else's experiences. Like, it's manifestation of stuff that can't be manifested in a physical way. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. Do you look for what when looking for art?
Sorry?
Do you look for what when you look for art? Books, I don't know, museums, past.
Anything really. Like,
and the other second telling me that
art can be anywhere.
Same age, that is nice.
I see, like, as a lover of food, I see art even in cooking, in food, in really literally anything, because anything can be art.
Just a question: have you ever met a singer that doesn't like eating? I have not. And usually when they don't, I'm not sure what kind of singer they are.
Well, maybe not. Like, never met someone who is into art that doesn't appreciate food. Like, doesn't mean that they have to love.
I would not get so far. I'm not so into. But with singers, usually they're very related because they're very sensorial both.
Yeah, that's probably why I would say
somewhere. How can I say?
Connected in that.
Yeah, and when they don't, there is something to be solved into the voice.
Probably.
No, but I mean, very little part of the world I know. So.
Oh well, yeah.
Take it just from my point of view, but it's nice that you say like food. Yeah, of course.
What you said, like, it makes a lot of sense.
Since you talked about this was a question for people who has two repertoires in contemporary. You don't, but this electronic thing a little gave me some. Is this electronic thing? How that is correlates to your main interest in, meaning the metal part? Is it like a side dish, a second skin, a different layer of what?
I would say, so one thing I can
one part of the root of where it goes, and then it becomes metal.
Okay. So in a way, I can tell you that the heaviness, it's still there. It's just, it has another suit. It's just dressed up differently.
Yeah, can we say that it's the flipped side of the metal? Or not?
Yeah, we can say that, but like, it's just different. Like, even because how you hear the influences in the genre, it's different. Because obviously, when you are listening to something that it's metal related, there is a lot going on sonically. Like, and it's very saturated. It's hard to pick up stuff in that sense. Electronic music can be very simple and very minimalistic, but at the same time, you still have that intensity sometimes, and you can say that it's like a flip side, definitely.
No, I didn't want to say that. I was asking you just if you saw that, if you could say in that way or not. No, you nuance differently. That is interesting. That is very interesting.
It's just so with a different attire.
What is it to present something and to present your material in the UK musical vibe?
Well, in the UK, I can say it's regarding to what I do, it's very well, let's say, accepted. Like the metal panorama in the UK, it's very it's very wide, and it's actually even very rich. Even if you go into the underground scene, that there's a lot of stuff, and it's actually even pretty good. But that's, I guess, thanks to the actual musical history of the country itself. Like, I mean, they invented punk.
Yeah.
One of the biggest metal bands are English, like Iron Maiden, the Black Sabbath are from here, Motorhead are from here. The greatest punk bands are from here. So in my field, it's very well accepted, as opposed to, let's say, Italy, where the panorama is totally different. Like the musical history is totally different, and there's such a, now I don't want to badmouth the tradition of the country, because it's something that makes the country rich, but I feel that there is too much of an attachment to that tradition, and it stops the country from improving and growing, because there's so much new stuff, so much good stuff that can be sent out, but it's not allowed. Like, they say, no, you're not good for that, so you have to change and do it this way.
You know, we said in one of the precedent episodes, I don't know in which order we put them, I will publish them, that the trap
Music.
The trap movement has broken that. And it has broken in stating that it could be really ugly and be effective, really ugly and have a sense. And when they badmouthed the trap movement, they were exactly the same, not open to nothing of good, because they were just not open. And when you're not open, doesn't matter how good it is simply always a no. So the thing was, you can't tell us what we lack, because we on purpose take away everything of value to just get to the message that art must have. So we give you all the reasons to attack us, and we do ours. It was the only possibility in Italy.
A bit of a social manifesto in music, if
in some sort. And then I'm very happy, because when it was 2015, something like that, I started telling, I feel the wind changing. It is opening against something. It's something coming back very nice and evolving. And to me, it was, and I'm not the only one thinking that, I'm very happy in that, thinking that we are making a new synthesis in which no way it doesn't matter what kind of music, what style it's music. And we can pick from everywhere and we put into, and we just recreate a complete synthesis. It doesn't matter if it's jazz, it's world, all those kind of cutting little slices. You are indie, but you are not so that. You are jazz, but you are not exactly as this. There say, it works. Okay, call it how you want. Why?
But
I'm picking from so many places. It does work now because now we can do this. And I have the perception that Maneskin could win because these things started, and then it was popular. It was it's enough. They're perfect. They are not this. They're perfect. We give them space. Why?
I definitely agree with that.
See, we want them there. We want them around. It's enough.
By now, they're so out there. Like, they're everywhere.
And it's fun how they try to trash them. And 1 year after, they couldn't anymore. Some still do. It's so on the minutiae. It's the minutiae, you know. Okay, you will always find something to say about everyone.
Oh, no, of course.
And the thing is it important? No. At the end of the day, it's important what they're putting into the plate.
Yes, very much true.
And I think they're putting a lot of nice things and a lot of courage and a lot of openness and a lot of, space, especially fresh air.
Yeah, I was just about to say like freshness, like they're fresh. Like if you put them in the Italian environment of music, there's something like it's a complete slap to the face to what Italian music is so far. Like
I would say it was. There has been opening. There has been other opening.
In Italy, there was that kind of feeling in the 80s, but there were like one or two artists, like Vasco Rossi was a little bit like that.
But then Vasco Rossi has become himself, I'm going to say, tradition. And
yes.
It's blocked. Because I adore Vasco Rossi, but when you make someone become that symbol, again, you can't get beyond. And it's getting beyond it. It's fantastic to do that. It's happy. So, a positive and the negative of the musical vibe. First, not Italy, but the region in which you were, that is the Lazio.
Mm-hmm.
And second, of the region in which you are in UK.
So, well, thinking of also like mostly of my friendships there and what my friends would listen to most of the time, I would say one of the biggest assets of Lazio, especially Rome, is that there's a really healthy, or at least for what I remember, there's a really healthy hip hop scene, which it's I think it's still there. It might have evolved in a bit of a weird way recently, especially with the addition of the trap movement. I always been appreciative of the Roman hip hop scene. Like it gives a really good window of what happens in the streets, or what it used to happen in the streets.
That's interesting. It didn't come out with the others.
Well, because in the others are that's no much stuff really. Like apart from now Maneskin, but
no, it's a huge indie movement.
Yeah, but again, they don't
I know that they're breaking nothing. Okay.
They don't exactly. They're not popping out.
They don't do like trap, and they do nice not to disturb.
In a way, I think in my opinion, they should disturb a bit more.
Absolutely.
And as
all my attitude is happiness of the correct disturbance.
Yeah.
There is a great happiness in the artistic disturbance. Why? It just exists.
Yes. Well, yeah, but the thing is,
don't get in the way of the others. You just exist and you do yours, but it's okay.
That's true. That's true. I'm a bit more cynical in that sense.
I can't. I'm a teacher, you know.
I'm like,
some told me that no, they are lost, you can't, you know, etc. I said, nobody's lost and nobody's useless.
Oh no, useless, no, nobody is.
No, but someone very cynical told me, let them, because the epoch is going to do, etc. I said, what the hell are you talking about? Everybody's important, every creative vibe is important.
Well, because it adds to the whole.
Also because there is a human being.
Well, yeah.
Human beings are to be cherished. Point.
True. True.
And
very true.
They had into their world till where it's their life, not ours, and we can't judge how much importance they have. It's just to be cherished. Stop.
That's very true. That's very true. I agree.
And you never know what this cherishment is going to do. It's going to do very good, even if you don't know.
True. True.
So, but you know, you of course as artists, you have a different kind of look because you have to look in a different way. Me, I have to look at both.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to be the one who cherishes and who pushes, not to cherish without doing the work, you know.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense, total sense.
Doing honestly the work, and then we'll see. And then you'll choose, and then you'll do your life. That sometimes will be pushing that to become something, and then you have to be more push in some places and less push in some other places. Or simply it will remain into a private side as with the amateurs, but yet don't tell me it's not important. It's fundamental. It's fundamental for life. It's fundamental for the vibe of the people around you. It's fundamental for the well-being. It's fundamental for dialogue. It's fundamental for everything.
That's very true. I totally agree with that.
There before it has no sense. So what the hell are you talking about? I even don't want to know, you know, because it's so foolish that I really don't want to get into why you're telling that.
That's true. I totally agree with that.
A positive and the negative of the place in which you are in UK.
Oh, well, in here, honestly, a negative, I would say that, but that's more like because of my personal taste. Pop music here, or at least what I listen in the radio, it tends to be, to me, it feels a bit empty. Like,
yeah,
there's nothing really there.
I see what you mean, but this time I will say nothing. When I was in UK, I spoke about with some people of the musical industry, and I will say nothing because it's not appropriate. I mean, it's not useful. So I will not.
In the same way, though,
I see what you say.
But I say that in like from a content point of view, like lyrically.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, I mean, thanks to the amount of different stuff that there is in UK, that's the good thing. It's so rich, like musically and tonally, and it's so rich. Like, I don't know, you go to London and you listen to drill music, which is heavily influenced by all the African part of what is in the UK, like a lot of Jamaican vibes, if you want, like if you go to East London, they don't even speak English; they speak Patois.
Yeah.
And that, or I really like the fact that the metalcore scene is so rich. There's so much good stuff. That's why I like the UK musically. It's so differently rich. Like it's complex. There's a lot of stuff.
I have the impression that on the pop side, they need to find back inspiration, true inspiration, jumping in the void of not the tradition. I have the sensation that I have to take this courage. It will come, I'm sure it will come, but it will take a little time. I have the impression that they are into that little of identity crisis that Italy has had for a longer time, but it's less rich from this point of view, with less tradition and less evolved as society.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that in UK it will take shorter time, but there will be, and I have the impression that it will not be the African one that is doing his evolution. It is fantastic and it's mixing into, but I think that the really British part has to delete its glorious past to have the courage to enter in something that is true now.
Well, again,
it can be very
community. That's starting to happen.
Find immediately. I mean, can be more raw.
That's starting to happen. Personally, from what I hear, it's starting to happen again in the rap and hip hop sphere. Like that's always very hot. Like,
yeah.
And even let's say the white part of it's starting to pick up stuff and taking away that whiteness, if the terms is allowed, to embrace what they stole, let's say, from other parts of the world during colonial years. Like it's happening, and that's actually a really, really, like, it's, in a way, it's very wholesome, because you already took from there in a bad way, and now they are teaching you new ways to, again, as I was saying before, to be richer and be bigger and more complex, more nuanced, and then it's actually really good.
I have the impression that they are teaching us the way of taking it by giving us as a gift, as we didn't do before.
Very true, very true. Well, that's something that those people always did. They always did. Like, those communities always gave, either in a deliberate way or because they've been deprived of it. Like, but they still giving and giving.
And now they're giving with the dignity of giving as a gift.
Yes, less. And
not that it wasn't before, but it wasn't allowed to be presented as that before.
Very true. That's very true.
I don't know, I feel very beautiful, and we can take away this sort of pride of whitenesses and say, okay, we can get into a little crisis for what we've done, but at the same time, without thinking that we are directly implied, because it wasn't us as individuals, but in the culture, you have to transform, you have to take the weight of the previous generations to transform it. How?
Yeah.
And I think it becomes something very beautiful without the necessity that it is immediately formally so nice, but of meaning so nice. And this will create a new form, because I thought that they were a little aware of not losing that predominance of style and of richness that they had. But you can't, from my point of view, you can't lose. You
well, it's your identity. Unless you lose yourself, you can't really lose that. You can just...
Right, but it's a too fragile identity if you think that you have to maintain the clothes of before.
Nah, like, they will get old. That's the thing. Like, exactly. It's like with thinking like fashion. Like, if you buy a coat today, tomorrow will be old, and you can't always putting it on and say, oh, that's what no, you're old. You don't fit in that anymore. because the rest around you has changed.
But you can still use it, and you have to remanage it, or taking away the importance that it has. And you say it's a great coat for the cold. And I represent myself on how I walk into the coat, but not by the coat.
You need to make small adjustment to the, definitely, that works perfectly.
Fabrizio, thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you.
It was really nice. It was really nice, very inspiring, very instructive, very nice, very pleasant, very rich.
Absolutely. Very likewise.
You find in the comments everything about him, and as usual, you will hear him.
Oh, I hope you guys don't get scared, though.
And if they get scared, it will be a nice vibe.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I like scaring people.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and thank you
for being here.
Bridge, rip the stage, stop, back it up! Getting hard, let your body shout. Doing something out of me, is trying to get rid of me. Evil tendencies are fuck me with me mentally. I got my throat and from turning your tears. I don't need your love, don't need your sympathy. I am above. I'll be the ghost that haunts you in your sleep. You have anchored the hate in me. Don't need your tears, I don't need your love. Don't need your sympathy, I am above. My God.